Well, heidi ho, nerd arenas, guess who's back with his gorgeous face all over again? Mr. Magnum is back with our tidbit tech news from the last week, tech news, tech sector, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to be discussing pretty much everything that they discussed about at CES this week. And God, one day I hope I can pray there's a mighty tech Jesus that will let me go to CES, because one day I would love to be able to afford to do so. But until then, us peons must pave the roads while the mighty move on them. Let's go ahead and get started with the news from this last week's tech sector. So 90% of what we're talking about is going to be everything they announced at CES. So we got some nice little tidbits, and I'm so excited about quite a few of them. All right, let's start off with Intel. Intel finally announced their Panther Lake. The Core Ultra Series 3, Intel launched its first complete platform built on the 18A process node. These chips claim a 76 to 77% boost in integrated graphics performance compared to previous generations, aiming to match the discrete RTX 4050 performance in some ultra-portable designs. So, AMD finally has some competition for their APUs. You don't need the graphics card anymore because it's all going to be built onto your CPU. We shall pray and hope that is as they say, and as powerful and as mighty as Hercules himself. Let's talk about AMD and the Ryzen 7 9850X 3D. AMD announced the new gaming-focused flagship featuring a 400 megahertz clock speed bump over the 9800X3D, and continuing its leadership in the desktop gaming segment. It is king of the castle. It is Zeus, mighty on Mount Olympus, throwing its lightning bolt at Intel, saying, "Ha ha, no!" All right, next one. We are going to NVIDIA. NVIDIA announced their DLSS 4.5. NVIDIA introduced its next generation of AI frame generation, capable of 6x frame generation, 6 times that is, 6 AI generated frames for every 1 conventional rendered frame. The target is 4K 240 Hz gaming, which is well beyond most of us mortals. Next, let's go to Qualcomm. Yeah, Qualcomm, we know about you. We'll talk about the Qualcomm Snapdragon X2. Qualcomm pushed its new Snapdragon X2 Elite and Plus chips, with some HP models achieving up to supposed 85 TOPS of NPU performance for advanced local AI workloads. Yes, you all know that as computer people, as peons out here who are gaming and using it for work and everything, just want AI shoved in every orifice they can put it in. Thank you for that. We definitely have strong feelings about it. There's also been some changes in the supply chain. Obviously, we know this one already. Some manufacturers are considering buying memory from Chinese suppliers or selling pre-built PCs without RAM to keep initial costs lower for consumers. So find your own RAM, because they're not going to give it to you, because otherwise you're going to have to pay extra for it. Let's talk about some new tech on the horizon, especially from ASUS. ASUS has introduced dual screen laptops. The Asus ZenBook Duo was refreshed with a 14-inch 3K OLED display and nearly seamless workstation. Asus also showcased their ROG Zephyrus Duo, a dual-screen gaming laptop featuring an RTX 5090 GPU. So yes, something else that is gold-plated that you'll never be able to afford unless you just happen to have Mom and Dad's credit card, and they have a very high credit limit. HP introduced the EliteBoard G1A, described as the world's first full AI PC built into a keyboard of all places. So yes, they built a PC into a keyboard. What's next? Add a battery and a monitor, and then we could call it something like, I don't know, maybe a laptop. And let's move on to some gaming monitors. LG and Samsung both debuted new OLED panels featuring RGB/V-stripe sub-pixel layouts, which solve long-standing text clarity issues in OLED gaming monitors. The U.S. government invested in Intel. The U.S. government recently secured a 10% stake in Intel to support domestic semiconductor manufacturing and national security. Going next to NVIDIA again, and they're talking about physical AI. Jensen Huang shifted focus towards physical AI. Models trained in virtual environments using the Cosmos Foundation model and deployed into physical robots and autonomous vehicles. Yes, more things that we'll never be able to afford because us lowly mortals have absolutely no money ever. We are poor, we're broke. How dare us? On that note, that's everything that I've got for you today. So this tidbit was a big old honking mouthful, and you definitely not gonna be able to swallow that one. I will see you guys next week, and we'll talk about more technology that we cannot afford, but we will admire from the far and licking the window from the outside, if you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Mr. Magnum signs out. Adios.